Hi, everybody. Mitch Tabbam here. Thanks for joining me today for the Security News Update. Let's see where we're going to start. And security and privacy alerts. This is a good one. Millions of Brother printers have been hit by a critical and unpatchable bug. The bug is not really a bug. It's a stupid piece of software design where they synthesize the admin password based on, I assume, based on the serial number. And based on that, if you you know have enough access that you can see the printer, which doesn't take much apparently, then you can synthesize the default admin password. And if the printer can talk to your net, like dump files on a file server or something, it probably has credentials, and that's probably exposed to the default admin. Israel says that Iran used security cameras, Israeli security cameras, to target missiles. They fire off the missiles, they hack the security cameras, and they can see where the missiles land. They said, "Oh crap, we're off by a little bit. Let's adjust the trajectory and try again." So Israel has told government employees, actually Israelis in general, to disconnect their security cameras, which obviously comes with collateral problems. And Iran just turned off the internet, which was a simpler solution. Microsoft, one more time, is extending the life of Windows 10. And the reason is because Windows 10 won't die. Windows 10 basically works for most people. There's really very little in Windows 11 that anybody really cares about, other than Microsoft. And as a result of that, people are sticking with Windows 10. So like 53% of the market out there is still Windows 10, and only 43% is Windows 11. So there's a bunch of shenanigans in terms of how this is working. But basically, if you're a consumer and you're willing to go off and drink some Microsoft Kool-Aid, you can get 1 year of support for free, or you can buy it for $30. And if you're a business, you can get it for a fee, not for free, and you can get it for a couple of years, but every year the price doubles. So you might have a little bit of breathing room, but it's time to get off Windows 10. In the CMMC section, a really important question: who in your business owns CMMC compliance? This is not an IT problem. And if you got somebody in IT who's ultimately responsible for the success or failure of your CMMC program, it's likely going to fail. So this really needs to be a business executive. And if you have questions about that, holler, and we'll be happy to discuss why we think that. In the reference section, DoD has created and released a PowerPoint on the technical application of the CMMC requirements. It talks about all kinds of three-letter acronyms: ESPs, VDI, SPAs, SPDs, all kinds of stuff. It was really good stuff. So check that out if you haven't seen that already. Came out, I think, in January. In the software, I don't know that you can. Well, yeah, you can actually. I'm sorry, I was confusing this with another one. So the ICE folks have an app on their phones that allow them to search federal databases when they come upon someone and they want to know who they are. The person isn't cooperative. But in addition to that, somebody who is not terribly fond of the cops put out a website called FLAPD, where F is actually spelled out. And it allows the user to upload a picture of a police officer whose badge is covered, and it'll tell you who the person is. Not sure how much information. I didn't try it. Not sure how much information you get. Hopefully not their home address. In the legislative and legal department, healthcare providers need to understand Texas Senate Bill 1188. There's a bunch of stuff in it, most of which is kind of woke in nature, but the one thing in there is that there's a requirement that patient data is stored in the U.S., even if it is cloud-based. So that means you need to go to all your cloud providers, assuming you're forever by HIPAA. You need to go to all your cloud providers and find out where both the primary and backup copies are stored and whether you have the ability to say, got to be in the U.S. Because in general, HIPAA doesn't have that requirement. It just has to be protected. It doesn't have to be necessarily in the U.S. So if you're a provider, if you need help, obviously, please reach out to us. The U.S. Bureau of Prisons has experienced a data breach, and they're not really talking much about it. But the hackers say they stole over 300 gigabytes of data, prisoners, employees, and infrastructure. And depending on exactly what it is and whether they release it or not, but it includes at least Social Security numbers, medical information, risk factors, facts, release plans, and a bunch of other stuff. So not great if you are a federal prisoner or a federal prison employee. In the education department, our friends at OpenAI wrote a paper, which is kind of self-serving, but nonetheless good, on the malicious uses of AI, as if we didn't know what they were already. But it goes into the good detail. I think it's good material which you could use for training your employees from. And although they don't talk a lot about this, they say that they're actively working to squash the malicious use of their AI, which is another thing OpenAI has control over. So interesting stuff, I thought. In the breaches department, Aflac has sort of admitted that they got hacked. They claim it's not ransomware. But on the other hand, they say that the crook stole customer data. It's only they aren't saying exactly what data, and they're also not saying how long the crooks were in there. They said they discovered it June 12th. This looks like it's likely a scattered spider attack. Um, and if that's true, their main form of attack is social engineering, very low tech, hacking the soft, squishy one, the people. Um, and they're offering people who contact their dedicated call center some interesting stuff: 24 months of credit monitoring, identity theft protection. Those two are pretty basic. The last piece, though, is something called Medical Shield, which I actually had to look up to see what it was. And it monitors for improper use of your health insurance and medical records, which is pretty cool. Also hacked, and this one is Salt Typhoon. Several Canadian telephone companies are following the U.S. phone companies, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, being hacked by Salt Typhoon. In a joint advisory put out last Friday, the Fed said that at least one Canadian telco was hacked in mid-February. They didn't say how many more. And the hackers had manipulated some Cisco routers to get in. Seeing is definitely not believing anymore. It used to be that you could believe what you were seeing. But AI deepfakes are becoming so good that companies are losing millions of dollars to these attacks. And the attacks are only becoming better. So you can learn more about that. If Congress does not act, industry will stop sharing attack data with the feds. There's a law which expires at the end of this government's fiscal year, September 30th, which gave companies who shared attack metrics with the government protections from being sued in the absence of that getting renewed. And Congress has not done that yet. They're worried about passing the budget bill. Then companies will pretty much immediately, what they're saying is stop sharing because they won't have any protection. It's hard to blame them for that. District court judge made a ruling that was favorable to the AI industry. It says that they can steal your data to train their AI models with impunity. Now, I don't know how long this will be in effect. Since this is only at the district court level, I assume the plaintiffs will appeal this, at least the appeals court and probably to the Supreme Court. So we will see where this goes. News bites. The cost of the recent UK retail cyber hacks is estimated to be about $350 to $600 million. Remember, that only covers 3 companies. Robo taxis are here with the anticipated issues like there's like human drivers, they speed and they slam on the brakes when they see cops. There are other things going on here. The Congress has banned WhatsApp. Not clear they understand what's going on. or either that or there is something else going on and they're not talking about it, but I don't think it's security related. It could be politics related. Scatter Spider hacking group is now hacking the aviation and transportation sector, airlines, for example. And the House and Senate both introduced bills to ban DeepSeek, the Chinese AI model, and other Chinese models in government agencies. So that's where he is. The states continue to pass their own security and privacy laws. There is a bill in Congress, and I don't know whether this will survive the reconciliation part of the bill process, but if it does, there's a piece in there that bans states from regulating AI for 10 years. But assuming that doesn't pass, then that won't be the case. And, it's hard for companies. So if you need help with that, navigating that minefield, please reach out to us. But in the meantime, stay safe if you can. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.